I personally don't blame immigrants in everything. I'm myself an immigrant to Canada. I'm originally from Ukraine. At the same time, I blame the government because their planning and their implementation of immigration policy is very poor. So there are like four regular approaches how a foreigner can become a Canadian. Canadian fellows, they love to like proudly tell that, okay, so we are better than Americans because they need to pay thousands of dollars for their healthcare and we get it free. The period between permanent residence and citizenship in Canada is probably the shortest in the whole West. It is 3 years of life in Canada as a permanent resident, and you can apply for a Canadian citizenship. Evil Trump, he is bad, orange man, he's a friend with a dictator, blah, blah, blah.
On this episode of The Engaging Marketeer, I'm speaking with Oleg Schindler, who is an immigration practitioner in Canada. So he helps people emigrate to Canada and work legally and become Canadian citizens. So I'm going to be speaking to Oleg about how he does this and his thoughts on immigration, not just in Canada, but also in the UK, as it's a bit of a contentious topic at the moment. Oleg is also an immigrant in Canada himself, being from Ukraine. So naturally, we're going to talk about the Ukraine war with Russia. I obviously don't know anything about your industry and what you do. So can you give me a brief overview about what you do to help people within immigration?
Yeah, so like very like briefly, it all started in approximately 2018. Somehow I landed to work as a business development manager in one big Toronto-based immigration law firm. And my goal was, okay, increase our sales, do whatever you want, but like we want to grow. So I started to dig deeper and I realized that regular marketing agencies, they simply have no idea how immigration to Canada works, about the, like how clients can become actually clients, so comparing to any other industries, it's a very different situation because, for example, let's say you are, let's say you produce aluminum pipes. All you need is to advertise, guys, I sell aluminum pipes. If you want to buy, come to me. Someone who needs them, come to your shop, buys, that's it, boom, deal. In immigration to Canada, we have a huge filter called eligibility. You can pour hundreds of thousands into your marketing, like getting trashy leads. If they are not eligible, they will not come to Canada. Even if they are very rich, even if they tell you I can pay whatever you want, well, okay, maybe in this case there are some options, but regular clients, even if they are rich and they want to pay, it still is not enough. So slowly but surely I started to realize that the niche is completely empty. There is no one in the field who understands the industry from the side of the immigration practitioner, how it works, the eligibility, the procedures, etc., etc., etc. So at first I literally asked my bosses to give me a raise. They refused. I told them thank you. And I opened my own company and started to promote my ideas to the general market of immigration consultants.
It's a good way to do it.
Obviously, yeah. So, so the point is that in our industry, content is everything. When people say that Canada has over 100 immigration programs, it's not like exaggeration. It's exactly like that. We indeed have over 100 immigration programs. All those programs constantly change. There are new legislation in place at all levels of governance, from federal to municipal. There are regional programs, there are local small programs, tiny programs for a small village, even things like that exist. And to be up to date with everything, it is really impossible. So we started with a very simple idea. We started to monitor everything. Based on our monitoring, we started to collect information and convert it into social media friendly posts that we sell to our customers. So imagine that you're an immigration practitioner, you start your day with your coffee, you already have at least 3-4 social media ready posts in your mailbox. All you need is simply copy, paste, start marketing. You can do videos based on these news. You can publish on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on whatsoever. And from there, so we started to grow this slowly, offering to other companies. And that's basically how it all started. At some point, I realized, okay, since I already know so much about this thing, why don't I get my own license and become an immigration consultant? So I did this switch in 2019. Again, like it was like just pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Got licensed, started my own immigration practice, and started testing everything on my own practice. So today I can proudly say that okay, I have a successful immigration practice. Actually, two. One Toronto-based, one Ottawa-based, where I test, like A/B testing. I do A/B testing with my own practices. One company has one website, the other company has two websites in different languages. The first website is in 5 languages. So, like I do this like live testing and we literally check what is working and then we sell to other companies what has already proven itself. So we started with the immigration news digest, like the very service I mentioned. At some point, it started to cover my mortgage, so I quit all my other jobs. I concentrated on that.
That was the point you did,
So
though, did
now,
it? As soon as your mortgage was covered, you thought, that's it, quit the full-time employment and go for this.
yep. So at some point, like today, I have 3 days a week I work as an immigration consultant. One day I work as a marketer, and one day is for paperwork in different projects. So what is different with us comparing to any other marketing company is that we literally understand the industry both from outside and from inside because we know how it works, because we test it, and we practice immigration law ourselves.
So is immigration in the UK is a bit of a volatile topic right now? Because
same as Canada.
Yeah, the media is trying to get people angry and believing that there's millions of immigrants coming over here every day in one small boat, one dinghy, and they're stealing everybody's jobs, which is ludicrous, but that's what they're trying to get people to believe. What's the situation in Canada?
Pretty much similar to what you have in the UK. The same approach, populists both from right and both from the left attack immigration for different reasons, but still immigration is currently under attack. I personally don't blame immigrants in everything. I'm myself an immigrant to Canada. I'm originally from Ukraine. At the same time, I blame the government because their planning and their implementation of immigration policy is very poor. And it was very badly planned and implemented over the last decade under the leadership of the Liberal Party. I can give just one example just to illustrate that. Imagine a situation when many politicians nowadays blame international students for skyrocketing prices in the real estate. A lot of students, approximately 1.5 million students in Canada as of today, they all rent, and that's why the prices are high. My question is to those guys who criticize those poor students is, who exactly was in charge for advertising in India, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, a lot of ads saying, come to Canada, study in Canada, this will guarantee your permanent residence. Who brought all those guys? Who poured taxpayers' money into advertising? It was the federal government. But now they prefer to kind of forget about it and not to mention it. It's very easy for the government to come to the to the journalists and tell them, guys, we miscalculated. We are sorry. Okay, so well, it's a very tragic situation. We need immigration. Let's be clear. We need immigration, but we need to manage it well. We need controlled immigration, checked immigration, security first of all, economic reasons first of all. I personally, I'm very thankful to Canadian government for helping Ukrainians who are fleeing the wars. Canada admitted approximately 300,000 Ukrainians, and being originally from Ukraine, it's a very, very sensitive topic for me. But at the same time, we need to check very thoroughly who we are admitting into the country, what values they share. Do they share our values or not? That is my personal position.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Ukrainians here in the UK as well, but still the media is saying that the immigrants are coming over here and they're stealing everything and it's a bad thing and they want to stop it and deport everybody. And the bit that scares me is that while there are illegal immigrants in this country, yes, there are people coming over here that are undocumented and potentially they may not be skilled workers that could help the country, and perhaps if they're illegal they should go back. There's not going to be any distinction between people that have come over here illegally or Ukrainians who are refugees. It's going to be a blanket, right, send everybody back the way it is. And that's what worries me. It's just going to be a chuck everybody back over the water, send them all back to France or whatever it's going to be. And then there's not going to be any distinction. Your average I'm going to use the word racist. Your average racist on the street isn't going to see the difference between somebody who's legally here from Ukraine or somebody who's come over from Somalia. They're not going to know. They're just going to see they're not British, get rid of them. That's the bit that scares me. Is it as bad as that in Canada?
Sadly, but like it still is not right there. But again, like because of populism, especially on the right side, it is slowly growing to that point. I hope the government will do something to stop that and to at least enlighten and educate people to distinguish between like bad apples and good apples. But like as of today, like we can call it crisis already. But
Yeah.
again, like I want to emphasize something that like Canada will not stop like accepting immigrants because like they are essential for our economy. Like the fertility rate is very low. We don't get enough
Oh, is it?
labor force.
I didn't know that.
Well, generally, yes. So, like on average, like the Canadian family has like one child, and like we are very far from like like the fertility rate that allows at least like stable population. So we need more people in the country because the population is aging very fastly, rapidly. Like baby boomers generation, they are retiring, and like there is not enough people to replace them. But yes, like okay, like it's a global crisis. The additional problem is that like usually the Canadian government was always accepting immigrants based on quotas. We have three classes of immigrants. We have economic class, which traditionally is usually approximately 60% of the total annual admissions. We have family class immigration, where Canadians get married with foreigners or adopt children from abroad or sponsor their parents from their home countries. So usually this was something like 30 to 35% of the total. And the rest was for refugees. Canada is always famous for like its humanitarian nature of the country. We try to help everyone: Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, Middle East. Whenever there is something bad happening, we try to get a portion of people to the country. But what happened in the last 10 years was uncontrolled temporary immigration. By temporary, we're talking about international students. So when I came to Canada in 2015, there were approximately 250,000 students total, from school age to those who did masters or PhD. I did my masters in Canada in 2015. Only in 2023 alone, we accepted 730,000 students 1 year. So, like, if you have like such a big influx of students, obviously they will stuck. And like, as of today, we have a temporary population between 3 to 5 million people. Canada in general has 40 million population. So, like, that what caused the issue to become hotter. That was caused these discussions between politicians, and because historically immigration was always there was a consensus between politicians, so the immigration is good. The only question was how many immigrants exactly will we accept and what will be the distribution between quotas, etc. But again, this is what happens when you don't plan properly, when you simply accept without any control of how many you accept.
See, it sounds very similar to the UK, because the UK is basically, it's an immigration country. It is an immigrant country. You know, we are made up of people from all over the world. You know, there's a lot of Irish, there's a lot of Italian, there's a lot of French, there's a lot of Spanish. The whole lot comes together in the UK. We're effectively, we're a mongrel race. That's what I think makes the country so good. We've got that variety. We've got that mix of cultures living together. Our national dish is Indian. It's curry. So that's the kind of way it is. So for us to then start blaming immigrants for everything that's wrong in the UK seems completely counterproductive. And it's essentially government is saying, look, these are the problems over here. This is what's causing you the issues. When in reality, it's not. It's nothing to do with that. But it's very easy to rally people and say, look, that's the problem. Let's all shout at that. Let's all complain at that. And that'll all go away again. I mean, you mentioned loads of students in Canada. Now, surely if people are coming over and they're being educated, they're getting degrees, they're getting masters, they're going to benefit the country. They're going to have skills and qualifications that are going to help Canada improve. Isn't that a good thing? Aren't you guys looking at that saying this is a positive? And is there also a worry that you look to what the United States is doing and think, shit, we don't want to do what they're doing because they're just completely imploding right now.
Yes, yes, yeah. So in comparison with the United States, it's always like, like a hot topic for us. Like it's funny how, to what extent we try to define ourselves as not Americans. Yeah, but okay. So going back to students, the point is that yes, you're completely right. International students are like it's a bless. Like it's a good thing when we have talented young people coming to Canada. They already speak our language. They are prepared to integrate to the labor market and to fill out positions where we have shortages. But when this system can be broken, when you have the influx of too many students who, like, like you don't need, like if you have like 50 positions for software developers and you have 500 like candidates for that, there's like it's too much. Then locals don't have enough places to apply, and like it is something that is really happening. But the main point here is different. So when Canada unleashed, like this, like income of students, what happened next? Like it's a free market, like many colleges, many universities started to open additional facilities, and they, to be honest, they didn't really care about the quality of education. So we accepted like a lot of students whose education is below the average. And the whole point was simply getting paid because like it's a huge industry. If I'm not wrong, I may be wrong with the numbers, but I think it's something like $22 billion annually in 2023 or 2024, something like that. So like it's like a lot of jobs were created inside the education industry. Like they accepted, like there's a lot of things rolling around. But again, like in theory, when you have specialists talented who are ready for your labor market, it's a good thing. But when you have too many people in specific areas, in specific industries, who end up working in Starbucks or Tim Hortons, it's our Canadian Starbucks. I don't know if you are aware.
Yeah, it's quite big in the UK, Hortons. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm very happy to hear that. So if you see that international students end up in Tim Hortons and start taking jobs that in theory are intended for our use, then we have additional problem. Because like, for example, I can illustrate this with my case. So I came here to study my master's degree. Obviously, I was already, like with some background, professional background, I was prepared for the labor market. And when I graduated, like I started working immediately. And that is the example of good absorption of immigrants. Like we fill the labor market with specialists where they are needed. But when we have this kind of approach, when nothing is under control and everything is, like flowing as it goes, then the problem emerge.
So for somebody looking to go to Canada and to work, what requirements would they have? What skills would they need? So say, for example, I wanted to relocate to Canada, set up a business or get employment. What do I need to do?
So I would position this in the following way. So there are like four regular approaches how a foreigner can become a Canadian. So the first approach is simply checking plenty of permanent resident programs that allow you to apply directly for permanent residence. So we have a federal system, like it's a point-based, merit-based system called Express Entry, where everyone can register, declare their human capital factors such as age, education, work experience, knowledge of languages, especially French. Nowadays, French is probably a trump card to get to Canada, specific, not to Quebec, but to English-speaking provinces. The federal government is promoting bilingualism. And
so he wants people to be able to speak French in every part of Canada, then, not just in French-speaking Quebec.
Let's put it clear. You don't need it in everyday life, but it guarantees you being promoted for immigration and winning this competition based on your bilingualism. It's a pure politics. It's not because of like actual needs of the economy. It's more about implementing the policy of second official language. We cannot force Quebecers to speak English. So to keep them within the country and like to kind of cut their separatism movements, we do the following. We promote French language and French culture. We tell them, guys, like it's better together, like let's stay together. You are defending the French language, we promote it here in English Canada. You want to preserve French culture, We do the same. We literally promote influx of French speakers to Canadian, French-speaking minority communities in English-speaking parts of Canada, and we value that. Let's stay together. And the reason behind it, obviously, is economy, because we trade through Atlantic Ocean, and two main ports are in Halifax and Montreal. And if Quebec splits, then we are cut. In the south, we have Mr. Trump with his tariffs. In the north, we have ice. So we need to go through Quebec to reach our Atlantic provinces and to trade with the world through the Atlantic Ocean. So we need Quebec inside Canada. So we don't want to to force anything. So we promote instead. We promote French language. So nowadays the easiest thing to immigrate to Canada is to become. You don't need to become fluent in French, but you need to have a good level, like European scale B2. B2 French, if you have a higher education, if you have English at level between B2 to C1 plus French and some work experience in skilled occupations, you're welcome. It will be like a good option for you.
Je parle français.
On top of that, un peu. J'étudie français deux fois en semaine. That's fine. Because I promote French to my clients, I started to study French myself just to give them an example.
Très bien.
So, in addition to federal programs, we have plenty of provincial programs. If you find a local employer who needs you, let's say there is a construction company that needs 3 carpenters, they can bring you to work in this province for this specific employer, and they will, let's use the word sponsor. I don't like, because it's like not the exact word, but let's say that your employer can sponsor your relocation, or through education. The way that I did. If you come to Canada, study in a good program, graduate, you get the postgraduate work permit, you gain Canadian experience, which eventually also leads to qualifying through one of those programs that I mentioned. If you have a business, there is a startup visa program. Like if there is an innovative business idea that can benefit Canadian market, there are a couple of dozens business incubators, venture capital funds, or angel investors. If they support your idea, you can apply for permanent residency. You can launch your business here in Canada. So there are plenty of ways, but it is very, very individual in every single case. So there could not be like 2 identical cases, because some minor distinction between the cases can change the strategy.
And what are the costs involved with living in Canada? Because I know in the UK we have free health. And if you go to America, it costs you an absolute bloody fortune. How does Canada relate in terms of living costs, buying properties, healthcare, insurance, taxes with the rest of the world?
So let's put it this way. So in terms of healthcare, officially, yes, we also have the universal free healthcare system, which is indeed free, but not really. To be honest, I know that my many Canadian fellows, they love to proudly tell that, okay, so we are better than Americans because they need to pay thousands of dollars for their healthcare and we get it free. It is true, but not exactly, because we have way higher taxes that Americans have, and we pay for this healthcare from our taxes, so it's not completely free. And another problem is, and I believe that it's a similar problem that you experience in the UK, not enough doctors, not enough specialists, long lines to wait when you come to an emergency. If you are not literally dying, you may spend maybe 10 hours, maybe 15 hours, depending on the volume of their workload. So same problems that you have in the UK, we have the same problems here with the healthcare system. And the only problem as for me personally, the only problem that I see in Canadian healthcare is that the government is really against having simultaneously 2 systems, one free for everyone and one paid. If someone can afford, to pay for their medicine, it is almost impossible in Canada. There's no such thing. So my position is, if you can offer this option, some people will not wait for the free healthcare. They will go and pay as you go. And this will reduce the workload of the healthcare for public system, but not in Canada.
Oh.
In terms of housing, good thing about Canada is that our houses are way bigger than in the UK. like like we have more land, so like more places. So typical Canadian house will be probably bigger than the average house in the UK. I think we built more. Again, like I'm not a specialist in this area. It's just like my sense of what we have. In terms of cost of life, I would say that approximately the same. I think that like the salaries in the UK are still slightly bigger in terms of prices. I think Canada is slightly cheaper, but like in general, I would say that it's pretty much the same.
So that's it. So there is no private healthcare in Canada. There is no option if you want to go private.
Almost no, almost no. So except for dentist and I think everything related to eyes, like you don't have anything like that, at least like systematically.
Yeah.
I know that Quebec tried to implement something like that, but it didn't really work well. So as of today, like you don't have like too much options in terms of private healthcare.
See, I'm surprised at that because we obviously have our NHS, which is free. As you said, you can be waiting a long time for it, 10, 12 hours if it's non-urgent. I was waiting for a non-urgent procedure and I waited over a year to actually have that done. I could have gone private and had it done within a few days because I do have private healthcare as well. Everywhere in the UK has the option, go to NHS, or if you have health insurance, if you want to pay for it, or if you're the employer that you have, the business that you run pays for it, you can do that. The option is there. And if you've got something that is very important that you need doing and you've got healthcare, then go and get it done privately. But Canada, there is no option. I can't get my head around that you don't have an option to do it.
So you have a walk-in clinic, like so. Let's say you don't have a family doctor, and like I don't know, like you have a fever or something, like you don't feel good.
Yeah.
You can go to walk-in clinic. It is still covered under the your health insurance plan in your province, but it's not like the completely private thing. So it's still public thing.
Surely there must be people in Canada, wealthy people that don't want to be waiting. What do they do?
Travel abroad.
Oh, I see.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
So they go to the US, where you can pay for anything.
They go to the US. They go to Europe. For example, like many. It sounds funny, but like I know many Canadians traveling to Cuba for their dentist because it's cheap and still pretty good quality. To Mexico. By the way, there are a lot of private medical facilities in Central America, Mexico, Costa Rica. So many people go there simply.
That seems strange to me that somebody from Canada, a really rich country, would go to Mexico for healthcare.
Why not?
Something's wrong there, surely.
There is a lot of things that are wrong, yes, but it is what it is as of today.
Was in the UK, there is a phrase, there's an insulting phrase called turkey teeth. So if somebody has really bright, shiny teeth, they're known to have turkey teeth because they've gone to Turkey to have their teeth done because it's a hell of a lot cheaper to go to Turkey to get it done than it is to use dentists in the UK, which are very, very expensive. So I guess turkeys are equivalent of where you would go to Mexico or to Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, our Turkey is Cuba.
So what sort of skills is Canada looking for people to come in for recruitment? What things are you guys lacking or really seeking?
Okay, so like it's a really, really good question, and probably this podcast will be like me criticizing my country in a way, but
no, it's promoting the opportunities within your country.
Yeah. So officially, so like recently, Canada has introduced targeted immigration rounds in this federal system called Express Entry, point-based system, where candidates with the highest ranking got invited. So we implemented 6 categories that are federal priorities. The first is French, which I already mentioned, and the 5 other are professional. So we have a category healthcare, we have trades, we have STEM, agriculture, and education. But like now will be the funny thing again. Like planning is good, implementation is a nightmare. So to qualify under one of those categories, a candidate must demonstrate at least 6 months of work experience in the last 3 years or equivalent of part-time work experience in the last 3 years. So in the other words, you need to collect 780 hours of, let's say, carpentry to qualify as carpenter. And carpenter is one of the 25 occupations under the trades category. So the idea is brilliant. We need to target specific industries, specific people that were missing in our labor market. The implementation and control. If someone comes to Canada as carpenter, you cannot force this person to continue working as carpenter, right? Like it's illegal. It's against the constitution. What happens in reality? And I have to admit, I do it for my clients as well. If I have a client who doesn't qualify, but I tell him, okay, why don't you work as early childhood educator, or why don't you work as a pharmacy assistant? These are occupations that are missing in the labor market right now, and they are being targeted. So those people go get this experience, qualify, come to Canada, and return to their initial occupations. So, I don't want it to be a profit, but I believe there will be something like someone from the officials will hold a press conference and will publicly announce that, hey, we brought enough doctors, nurses, teachers, traders. Now we will build Canada. But 1 year after, they will go and tell something, okay, something went wrong. Now we will appoint a committee, we allocate the budget, we will find out what happened and what went wrong. So people from the industry already are saying this publicly. Guys, idea is good, implementation is very bad, you need to do something about that. But again, it's not there, they're not listening. And this is a problem.
So it's almost like a bait and switch then, isn't it? Get someone to come over as a carpenter, then they can do whatever they want, or get them to come over as an educator, and then they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Surely that's a loophole that the authorities are going to close at some point.
Yes, but they will close it when it is too late. The same thing was again. Let's go back with the students and with the planning. So let's go back 15 to 20 years ago. A typical Canadian immigrant family was a nuclear family of father, mother, children. One is working, one is caring of children, and it was enough. At some point, our government started to investigate and to do some research, and they thought, okay, it is more beneficial for us to bring two singles, so they can get Canadian education. They will pay higher tuition fees for international students. At some point, they will most likely form a family, but before they're forming family, they will work together, they will pay taxes. So instead of having one additional worker to the labor force, we will have two, and it's a good idea. Let's bring more students. Again, idea was brilliant. It's maybe a few years when they started to increase the quota for international students, and when they started to admit more students, it was indeed working and benefiting Canadian economy. But when it became too much, again, they had to stop. But it was a machine for several $1 billion a year, so it was impossible for them to stop. So that's how we get there. So same thing now. Their idea is brilliant. We are missing carpenters, electricians, welders. We are missing nurses. We are missing pharmacy assistants, dentists. Let's bring them. Good. How can you control that they are genuine carpenters, genuine healthcare workers, or genuine engineers? You cannot. You cannot obligate a person to work in a specific occupation once they become Canadians, because we have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms, we have the Constitution, so it is impossible. So again, idea, brilliant. Implementation, nightmare.
So how long is it? So if someone comes over as a carpenter, in inverted commas, how long have they got in Canada before they become a Canadian citizen, and then they can do whatever they want?
So basically, the period between permanent residence and citizenship in Canada is probably the shortest in the whole West. It is 3 years of life in Canada as a permanent resident, and you can apply for a Canadian citizenship. If you spend some time in Canada as a foreign worker, as an international student, you can take part of this period towards your qualifying period for the citizenship. For example, 2 years as a student equal 1 year already for the period for the citizenship. So if someone comes here temporarily, they can claim 2 years as 1 year and then only 2 years to the citizenship. So it's very, very fast. And if you come from scratch, 3 full years inside Canada, you can apply for a citizenship.
Wow. Okay. And it would be amiss of me to ask, as you are obviously from Ukraine, what is your views on what's happening there, and where do you see it going?
Well, so very, very tragic things, and my position is that we, as a West, we are doing not enough. Like my original training was in, like my background is history and political science, so I know history too well. I remember what was happening in Europe in 1936, in 1938, Czechoslovakia, like then Anschluss. So in a way, yes, I know that like Russia is not the Third Reich, but in a way we are doing the same thing with them. We're trying to appease them. We continue believing that like if we will give them a little bit of here, a little bit of there, they will stop. They will not stop. They understand only force, and if the West will be split and they will not be united in support of Ukraine, like this will continue. And to be honest with you, I don't believe in the Article 5. I don't believe it. If tomorrow Mr. Putin invades Baltic countries, will UK start the war? I have doubts. Will Canada start the war? I have doubts. So what we can do now is, so Ukraine has already proven itself as skilled fighters. What they need is more good weapon to to literally stop. Russia is not counting their losses, so they don't care about losses. They continue fighting just as they did like 100 years ago, as they did 200 years ago, and they will continue fighting this way. So we cannot prevail with number of soldiers. We can prevail only with technology and weapons. So we literally need to fund and provide supplies to Ukrainian army if we don't want to fight ourselves. That is my position.
So which countries do you think need to do more?
Europe. I know that like it's more popular to think, okay, evil Trump, he is bad, orange man, he's a friend with a dictator, blah blah blah. With all due respect, but okay, is there any European army ready to fight right now? I think maybe few, a little bit, specifically Finland, specifically Sweden, because they just recently joined NATO. So maybe they are more prepared. But in my view, since it is happening in the European continent, European armies must do more in terms of military development. If they don't want to develop their own armies, at least they need to supply more to Ukrainian army to fight for them instead of them. I know that like it's probably unpopular. Maybe many of your viewers probably think, okay, it's not our war yet. Again, like what will happen if, God forbid, Ukraine falls? Like, will they stop? Maybe for a few years. Yes, maybe we can, at the cost of Ukraine, maybe Europe can win few additional years of. I don't want to call it peace because it will not be a peace, a pause. But like later on, it will continue again. Maybe not with Putin, maybe with someone else after him. But again, like as long as this like Leviathan, like I call it last empire, as long as this last empire exists, it will continue.
Do you think it could continue after Putin? It's not just going to end with him.
Again, it is another mistake. It's a misconception thinking that it's only he personally who is against the West, against against our civilization and our way of life. Like it's not him; it's the whole system. It's not the one. Like there is let's call it collective Putin. If you stop the average person on the Russian street and you will ask them who is guilty of their poor quality of life, it is the West. They cause it because they take whatever, so the propaganda machine is continue working, and regular people, they really believe that if we hadn't invaded Crimea, like the NATO would take Crimea over. We just were ahead of them for a few hours. That's what they literally say and literally believe.
See that again.
So
that smacks of what's happening in the UK again. You ask the average person on the street, what's the cause of all the problems in the UK? They'll say immigration. It's immigrants coming over here, stealing our jobs, raping women, abusing kids, taking houses. The national press tell them that immigrants come over here, they get put up in plush hotels, they get given cars, given jobs, given a salary, given a massive TV, and that's what they all get. Whereas our veterans are on the streets homeless. That's what happens, and it gets everybody very angry. It's absolute bullshit, but that's the propaganda machine. So we're doing it just the same as Russia is. We're making our people stupid and blame someone else.
That is the problem, that we tend to look for easy solutions and easy explanation, and it's a bad approach, because the life is complex. A lot of things are very complex, and there is no black and white. There is no simple things. A lot of nuances, a lot of elements in every question. Take any hot topic, there will be hundreds of nuances. And you cannot do it in a simple way, okay, let's just do this, and it will solve all our problems. No, it won't. It won't. Problem is that we have this, are you familiar with the horseshoe theory? About right wing and left wingers, that in reality, radical left and radical right have more in common than moderate left and moderate right. Because they are all looking for simple explanations for people, for aiming someone to blame for all the problems. Whoever you want to blame, take the left, it's all capitalists, Jews, Israel, whatsoever. Take the right, it will be all this woke, all this globalists. Average guy from the street will not dig deeper to understand better what is going on, what are the actual reasons, what actually is causing the problem. So we are living in the era of populism, in immigration, in economy, in politics, in everything.
And can it all be sorted out?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. Well, again, yes, it is possible, but it required a political will from the leaders. The main problem that we are experiencing now is lack of leadership. We don't have people, like Sir Winston Churchill, those who can do the dirty job, and tell the truth. From history books, we know that when Churchill was in charge and in the darkest hour of the world, he told, "I don't promise you sweet dreams. I promise you sweat and hard work." That's what he told. If any politician nowadays will come and tell this to people, he will not be elected.
He will not be elected. No. No, instead they come and they lie and they say, "Oh, it's all going to be brilliant. We're all going to have pots of gold in our house and everyone's going to have jobs. It's going to be amazing." Yes. Yeah, we'll vote for that, and it's bullshit.
That's what we have now in Canada. So we had my personal belief. It is a very good for any political system to have the change of power. It is good for the country if after every few years there will be a different party in charge, switching, replacing. This rotation is a good for the country. But it was funny, so we had 3 terms of the Liberal Party. Then Justin Trudeau had so bad reputation that he finally stepped out. He was replaced by you know Mr. Carney very well. So Mr. Carney replaced Mr. Trudeau. How he won this election? He simply told, "Orange man would take us." Ooh. So, and again, the 4th time in a row, we again elected Liberals.
Well, the Orange Man did want to take Canada. That bit is true. He did want it and probably still does. But the Orange Man also told everybody that if he got elected, he would stop the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. Surprise, surprise, it was bullshit.
He didn't tell us what specific day will it be.
No, he didn't say what 24 hours. No, that's true. He didn't. No. No, it could be 24 hours in 30 years' time. And he didn't say how he would stop it either. Probably by giving Ukraine to Russia. That's how he plans to stop it. But, yeah.
Yes. Populism.
Yeah, we'll get off that subject. So in terms of your marketing for other immigration companies, how do you do that? What kind of businesses are you looking for?
So basically it is very simple, because my niche is a tiny niche. So we have approximately 2,500 immigration law firms in Canada, and we have approximately 13,000 regulated Canadian immigration consultants who are licensed to practice immigration law. So my whole niche in Canada is like approximately 15,000 clients. So we directly approach them, showing them what we can do, what kind of services we offer, and we demonstrate them examples why it works. So in terms of marketing, again, unlike any other industry, there are only two measurable ways to know if you are a successful practitioner or not. So the first one is number of paid book consultations. Initial contact with the client is the consultation where you assess the case and tell them what strategy can work in their case, what can they do. And the second measurable thing is the number of signed retainers. So it's very simple. It's not like, okay, how many likes you get, how many visitors to your website you get, like just like other industries. No, the conversion, what we call conversion, is either a booked consultation or a signed agreement. And if you track that, you can be sure that like you do good things or you do bad things or you need to improve. And as I said, I measure this in my practice. So on average, I have approximately 20 paid consultations a week. So and I know if this works in my practice, it will work in someone else's practice. We teach companies how to use our content, how to use our approaches to implement in their business and to benefit from there. So by the way, funny thing is that like many of my clients, they are confused. They are asking, why do you help other immigration consultants? You're also an immigration consultant. Isn't there any conflict of interest? And I love this moment because it always allows me to demonstrate them with numbers that we are talking about. As I said, like our niche is 15,000 professionals. On average, we have approximately 500,000 permanent residents who are coming to Canada, and we have approximately 1.5 million temporary clients who are coming to Canada as visitors, as workers, as students, which means that if let's imagine that half of all people who are coming to Canada are doing everything on their own without approaching to a professional help. So even if we have half of them, dividing by all, if we divide them all to all immigration practitioners to Canada, it will still be something like between 50 to 150 clients annually to everyone. So like the market is so big that there are enough space for everyone. There is no need to consider everyone as just as a competitor. So I love to tell that like all immigration practitioners can be divided into two categories. The one I called Hobbesians, like those who follow the principles of Thomas Hobbes, bellum contra omnes. The war of everyone with everyone. I don't remember the exact phrase in Latin. And they consider everyone as a pure competitor, period. The other group is collaborators, those who are not afraid to collaborate with others because they know that their share of pie is still big and it's okay to collaborate on different topics and there is enough room for everyone. And there is no need to try to monopolize a segment or a country or a service, etc., because there is a lot of place for everyone here. And we simply offer them what has already proven with other clients. We have successful stories of clients who started from scratch and now they have 40K followers in Instagram. They close 200 contracts a year. So we are talking about businesses with over $1 million revenue. So my own practice, I'm pretty close to that figure, but again, I combine two practices, so I don't do full-time immigration consulting. I do it only 3 times a week, and I have 20 consultations on average a week. So we know it works.
It's an interesting way of scaling a business rather than trying to work 5 days a week and work all the hours that you possibly can. You're helping other people with their business. So there's a phrase we use in the UK called co-opetition. So it's not competition, it's not cooperation, it's co-opetition. You're working with people who most people would see as your competitors, but you're helping each other out because there's a wider goal, a wider gain for that. Do you limit in different cities where you work, or the number of companies you work with, or in different areas?
No limitations. So again, in terms of marketing services, we serve all companies across Canada. So we have clients from all provinces. In terms of immigration practice, again, there is no limitation except for specific provinces that have specific licenses, local licenses. But other than that, I would call it a global service and global industry. There are plenty of immigration companies who are not sitting in Canada, who have their offices overseas in India, in Dubai, in Europe, but they constantly work only in Canada, sending students, sending clients, etc. So there is no geographic limitations or boundaries.
Oh, right. So you're not just working with people based in Canada, you're working with people all over the world as well.
Yeah, my only so the only filter I do have is like in my marketing business, we try to work ethically, and that's why we work only with those who are allowed to represent clients and to provide immigration services. We don't work with companies who are we call them ghost consultants or unauthorized practitioners, if using the official terminology. Those who are not licensed because they mislead people. Like so, how to distinguish whether your consultant can provide a service or not? Like a licensed person is in the public register. You can verify their license. You can see that they indeed are present there. You sign a contract. You sign a form authorizing a representative to act on your behalf, and your applications are filed through the official portal for representatives. What all those ghost consultants do, like a person believes they are working with a genuine specialist, but in reality, those guys literally file application as if it was the person themselves alone filed application. If something goes wrong, the person then complains, "Oh, it's not me, it's my consultant." At this point, the government of Canada intervenes and tells, "Okay, hold on. You said consultant, but in your application, there is nothing about consultant. In your application, you signed that you submitted the application yourself. Did you lie to us? Did you provide false information? Did you misrepresent yourself?" And then the problem starts. And people do not realize that working with someone without a license, they already commit an act of misrepresentation, which can, in best case scenario, cause refusal. In worst case scenario, it can cause ban for 5 years for coming to Canada. So don't work with
Really? You
unauthorized
can be
people.
banned
Check their
for
license.
5 years from coming to Canada if you do that.
Yes.
Wow, so that's quite a
Article
risk.
40, if you commit an act of misrepresentation, regardless whether it was intentional or unintentional, based on Article 40 of Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, you can be punished with ban of 5 years for coming to Canada.
Wow.
It's it's a very serious thing.
Well,
So be truthful and work only with licensed people.
that's quite an important thing to end on then, to make sure that you use somebody authorized like yourself. So, Oleg,
Yes.
anyone listening to this thinking, I'd love to find out more about how I can emigrate to Canada and work in Canada or do as a student, for example, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So the best way to reach out will be through either my social media or my website. So visit my website, book a consultation. During this consultation, I personally analyze your case. We do our research of your background. We identify what strategies can we apply or what specific things you need to do in order to qualify for one of the programs. And we present before you options and you select which option you like the most. And then if you decide to retain us, we sign the agreement and we act as your representative. So first consultation, then action plan and the contract. If you are an immigration specialist and you're looking for marketing services, go to our other website, book a consultation with us. In this case, it will be a free consultation. And I am sure that our team will be able to help you to grow your immigration practice based on the best practices that we already implemented in my own immigration practices.
Okay. And I will put links to both those websites below the podcast. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, or whichever platform you use, it'll be below in the show notes for that. So anyone can just click straight on that and get in touch with you. Oleg, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I've loved finding out more about immigration to Canada. It's been absolutely fascinating.
Thank you for having me today, and I wish good luck to all fellow people from the UK. We're in Canada, love you, and we value our friendship a lot.
Thank you.